Guys, this is Kirsten and I thought today I would make a tutorial for you on how to make chicken stock from a roasted chicken. I'm going to be using an Instant Pot pressure cooker today. Usually I'm making a lot of chicken stock and I will use probably like a 20 quart stock pot, but today I don't need that much, so I'm just going to do a really quick batch in my Instant Pot, which is about 6 quarts. All right, so the first thing you want to do is take your chicken carcass, or maybe you didn't have a carcass but you still need stock, so you can use bone-in, skin-on chicken thighs. They're really nice cheap cut of meat, and they've got the bones, which you're going to want to be doing if you're doing the stock from scratch. It's kind of the whole point, is to make a nice bone broth. And then you want to take 3 carrots and just roughly cut them. I mean, they don't have to be anything pretty. I peeled mine. Sometimes I don't. Sometimes I wash it and I just chuck it in. Depends on how dirty they look. They look really clean, then hey, no point in peeling. If not, then you've got peels for your compost. So you just chuck that in. These are a little bit on the smaller side for onions, so I'm going to put 2 in and just quarter them and leave the skins on. You're not going to get sick or die from it. It's all good. Just super rough, like that. Chuck it in. Really, really quick and easy to get something like this going. Now, when I do a chicken stock on the stove in a stock pot, I'll let it go all day at a nice simmer, because you really want to give it plenty of time for the bone to come out, or the gelatin to come out of the bone. But sometimes you don't have that kind of time, or in this case, I just don't need that much stock. So I don't need to do that. So I'm going to do the Instant Pot. It's going to take an hour and it's going to be done. So I'm going to go with 2 garlic cloves, keep the peels on, and then just take your knife like this and press down on them to smush them. You'll hear a little crunchy noise. Throw that in. I've got some thyme and some fresh parsley from my garden. I just went out there and chopped it up. Throw it in. Probably not going to put all this thyme in. This is actually a lot. Usually I use dry thyme, but my thyme looked really nice, and so I'm going to use fresh. Usually if I'm doing it on the stove and I happen to be using the dry thyme, it's about a teaspoon. The conversion usually is, and I might need to double check this, is a tablespoon of fresh for a teaspoon of dry. Just when you dry herbs, they get a lot more potent. So you put that in your pot. You want to add in some cider vinegar, because that helps to leach the minerals and the gelatin and everything out of the bone. Probably no more than 1/4 cup. I just kind of eyeball it. I live life on the edge. Then whole peppercorns. If you put in cracked pepper, then it can get bitter. If you do the whole peppercorns, you won't have that problem. And so I usually do, I think the recipe my mom had taught me was 20 peppercorns. I kind of don't like counting out peppercorns. So if you can see that, I'm just putting in like a handful. It'll be fine. Nobody's complained yet. Then you want to put salt in. I tend to never put enough salt in for whatever reason. When I take my stock and I make a chicken soup with it, it always needs to be salted again. So, I'm going to do another handful. This is Celtic sea salt. Sometimes I do kosher. I never get the iodized salt that's 88 cents from Walmart. That is a science project and has no health benefits to it. Celtic sea salt is actually coming from the sea. It's got trace minerals in it, which you want. It's a lot healthier for you. That iodized garbage is not good. So usually I've got Celtic sea salt and pink Himalayan salt. I like to use that for baking because it's a finer grind. And then occasionally I will have kosher salt. And I tend to use kosher salt the most when I'm doing a brine, or pretty much just a brine actually. And so we've got everything in our Instant Pot. I might have to tamp it down just a little bit. Make sure it's not to the max. And now all you have to do is fill it up with water to the max line. Okay, so I went ahead and I filled up the Instant Pot to the max line. You never want to put it above that or big bada boom problems. And the parsley sticking up a little bit, but that's fine. I mean, that's going to cook down. And so now all I do, like I said, that was about 13 cups of water. If you are on city water, you might want to use a filtered water of some sort. I have a well, so I just, I'll go straight from the well most of the times. But that's what you have to do to get everything set up. And now the rest is actually really easy. So all you need to do is put your lid on, which will snap in place. There we go. Had it on the wrong area. So you get it put on, you close it. Make sure that it is not venting. And then you hit the, let me bring this over so you can see this, because this is super easy. I was always afraid of pressure cookers. I think my mom had some phobia about it back in the 70s. I think people were hurting themselves with it, and so we never really used one growing up. But this one is just idiot proof, which is what I love, and it's got all these different functions on it. So I'm gonna hit soup, and I'm gonna set it for an hour at normal. I can actually sit down and hold it like that. So after about, I think it's 10 or 15 seconds of not having any input, it automatically starts cooking. It's going to take a little bit for the pressure cooker to actually get to pressure, and that's when the countdown will start. And then the really nice thing about the Instant Pot is when it gets done, it'll keep warm. And then with stocks, what you can do is you can just leave it, just after it's done, turn it off, and let the temperature or the pressure drop down naturally. And that might take like another 30 minutes to an hour. And then you're good to start straining your stock. There was a lot of meat on that chicken, so what I'm going to do with it is I'm going to pull the meat off of it. I'll keep some for either a chicken soup or pot pie, or depending on the size of the bird, I can get 2 meals out of it. That was a 5-pound bird that I put in there. And then if there's any like gross, really fatty pieces from the underside of the chicken, I'll save that for the animals. They absolutely love chicken after it's been cooked in the stock. So that is how you do a chicken stock with an Instant Pot in about an hour, hour and a half. And the total active time you saw was very, very easy. So, all right, so everything got done in the Instant Pot. And what I did was I took a large colander, cradled it in my big stainless steel bowl, and poured the contents from the Instant Pot bowl into the colander. That way I got all the stock separated from all the bits. This is all the bits. I'm going to save the carrots and give that to the dog. I'm going to save the bones and food process that with the heart and the liver that came with the chicken. All the chicken meat I'm going to save, and it'll either be used in soup and pot pie or given to the dog. You can see right here, look at this. They can smell the chicken. They know what's going on. This is their favorite part of the chicken process because they usually get a little bit while I'm going through everything. And what I do with the stock, if I'm not going to use it right away, is I ladle it into ball jars with the plastic lids, and then I put them in the freezer. I do pints and I do quarts because some recipes, like my pot pie recipe, uses 2 cups of chicken stock. So that's where the pints come in handy. And then when I'm doing soups and things like that, the quarts come in handy. I just didn't have any pulled out yet, but that is what it looks like after it's done Instant Potting. And the bone, you can see this, it just like is melting. That was part of the breastbone. And that's just like, it's given up on life. And that was from an hour in the Instant Pot. So that is what the after effects of stock look like. I have I'm fairly confident that when this stock cools down, you can see it's really, really liquidy right now, but if it were to cool down, it would probably be kind of like Jello, which is usually when I take my beef stock out of the Instant Pot, it's like Jello after it cools. So anyway, that's that, and I hope you found this helpful. Um, that's how you do it. It's super easy, and I hope that you start making some bone broth. It's a great way to save money. It's a great way to get nutrition for your family. It's a great way to stretch out a chicken, which is a super, super cheap meal. And thanks for watching and happy cooking.